Welcome to Open Range. I'm your host, Gary Emnett. Today we're going to spend a little time talking about gold, silver, precious metals. For some of you out there that maybe have a bunch stashed away in a safe somewhere, or you've thought about it and haven't taken any of your cash that's stole away and put it into gold or silver, I think you're going to be in for a treat today hearing Chris Olson's business and what he and his family's done for a long time, and a big announcement that just came out this past week that he's been working on for a long time, a relationship business arrangement with Tucker Carlson. And so, Chris, welcome to Open Range.
Hey, Gary. Thanks for having me.
So, Chris, I want to dig into gold and all that stuff for the viewers out there, and silver and precious metals, and people understand how to do it. And there's rip-off stuff. I got a story I'll tell you as we get into this a little bit further when we get into it. But before we do, I'd like our viewers to get to know who you are, because you served as a legislator, and you got all the right principles. And by the way, I love that beard. I wish I could grow one of those, but I just don't have enough going on here. So, so tell us a little bit about yourself, Chris.
Yeah, so, I'm a fourth generation North Dakota native, born and raised in West Fargo, North Dakota. So, been here since 1977. And after serving in the U.S. Army Infantry, got out and went to work for my dad pretty much right away. He needed some help with technology and with accounting and just managing the business, which was growing very rapidly. And this was really, this was about year 2000, 2001, roughly. And the company that my dad had started was called Treasure Island Coins, which he started in 1976. And so it was the largest coin and bullion dealer in the region. He had a huge boost from the 1980 surge in the silver and gold prices, when silver went to $50 an ounce roughly back in those days, which was a lot of money in 1980 money, and very interesting times, which I remember because I was just a little kid hanging out at my dad's shop with my mom and my dad while there were lines of people out the door at West Acres Mall coming to the shop to sell silver to my parents and my family every single day back in those days. But when I came to work for him again once, and I was an adult, gold was about $280 per ounce. So
Wow.
we've seen a lot of changes since
280.
then.
Incredible. I mean, so, and today it's over 4,000, right?
Yes.
So
Yep, over
$280. And what year was it when you say it was 280? What year would that been?
This would have been summer of 2000.
Summer of 2000. 25 years later, it's from 280, it's over 4,000. Okay, so keep going with your story, because just to keep it in perspective, that's a pretty nice return if I would have sat on it, bought a bunch. And but
yeah,
it doesn't work that way
definitely.
most times.
It's interesting, and we could talk about that later too, like the returns of gold versus the S&P over that same time period. It's pretty interesting. Started working with him, learning the business, improving it, and really just cutting my teeth on operations and distribution and how to make markets. Basically, we acted as a wholesaler. We still do act as a wholesale distributor of precious metals and a market maker, where what that means is in the United States, you have bullion dealers all over the country. And then there are a few major nodes within the network that are constantly buying and selling the gold and the silver to other smaller dealers, and maintaining a large supply of the precious metals or of cash to make a market, to bring liquidity and availability of product to the U.S. bullion market. And so that's something that we were doing starting in about the mid-90s. And I grew that side of the business with my dad over the next 20 years, really. And so we come into 2008, the great financial crisis. There's a major run up in the gold price shortly after that, coming into 2011. And basically at that time, that was really the second major gold cycle from a bottom in 2011, or a bottom in 2000 of roughly $260 an ounce to over roughly $2,000 an ounce in 2011. And then after that, gold and silver kind of entered into the doldrums for the next 7, 8 years, until roughly 2019, where we've entered what is essentially a third cycle in the price of gold and precious metals. And so, yeah, we just continued to grow the business, the market making side of the business. And also during that time, I ran for North Dakota State House. And so this would have been in 2014. I think you and I met, Gary, back during the Tea Party days.
Yeah, that's
And
correct. Yeah,
yeah, and
we were out promoting the conservative principles. You maybe had a little more of a libertarian bent than me at the time, except now I've become much more libertarian than I ever used to be. I think I've got a better understanding about government intervention. I was a little bit of a anyway, but so I would guess that's true. It was during the Tea Party days in the mid 2014, 15, 16 area. Yeah.
yeah. And during that time, I was involved in both of Ron Paul's presidential campaigns, and was a big supporter of his. Still am. Just recently went to his 90th birthday party down in Texas, and that was a good time. Saw a lot of good people down there. And during this time, a buddy of mine named Jared Hendricks, who you also know, convinced me to run for state house. And so in 2014, I did that for District 13 here in West Fargo, and surprisingly got the nomination from the party, the endorsement, and then went on to win in the general, and proceeded to serve in two legislative sessions, 2015 and 2017, and really loved it. Had a good time working with fellow House members and just getting into the nitty gritty of policy and government. And then eventually I had to make a decision because the business was growing faster than I could manage, and things were just becoming a little too hectic. So I decided not to run for reelection, and pretty good thing that I didn't, because 2019 and ever since have seen our volumes and our trade volume, our dollar volume, the activity in the market in general has just exploded exponentially.
You know,
So it's
Chris,
been a very wild ride into the present day.
Chris, I think of you when you just said you made that decision. Not many people make, not many people, people regularly make a bad decision sometimes and stay in politics too long, and it takes down and messes up their personal life. And so while on my show, I encourage people, get off the couch, get involved. But the fact that you served, many times people get elected and they stay there till they get thrown out. And in your case, you made a good business decision for you and your family, obviously. And we miss you in the legislature. I loved having you down there because you were one of those voices that could articulate a lot of things that conservatives have fought for, and the libertarians. In the case of Ron Paul, I mean, his role in Republican Party politics has been substantial. And so I appreciate that side of it. But we're going to have to go to break in a couple minutes. But I want to make sure before we get to this first segment that you talk about your announcement that just came out about Tucker Carlson. We're going to dig into all these subjects in more detail because I got you for the whole hour. But I want to make sure we get out there right away, your announcement about Tucker Carlson and that opportunity. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's the big announcement. So, well, we're partnered with Tucker Carlson. He and I began speaking last year about an idea relating to what's happening in the gold industry and how he could promote it. Because there were a lot of people approaching him and offering him a lot of money to promote their businesses. And as he began to look into it, he found that there were some very, very shady activities happening in the industry, which he was incredibly troubled by. And we can get into exactly what that is. And so we started having a conversation, and I floated the idea of, well, why don't we start something together? and you'll own it, and we'll work together, and I can operate it out of our headquarters here in Fargo. We have the logistics, the infrastructure, the experience, the market making capacity to support a business like this. We already do it in a number of other areas. So it was kind of a turnkey thing that we could offer in terms of the back office and the back end. And so he agreed, and we got to work on building a new brand and setting up new technology for a retail website for the general public to purchase through, and also for our salespeople here in Fargo and throughout the country that will take phone calls from anyone who wants to call and talk about precious metals and make a purchase. So we've been busily building everything necessary to service and support what we expect to be historic demand, especially for us.
So, Chris, we're going to go to the break, and we come back. I'd like to just get the story of how do you break through to get a hold of Tucker Carlson. So if I'm going to say Gary's going to reach out to him and have a conversation, it's not that easy to get through to these guys. So we're going to talk about that, and then I want to have our viewers understand what it means, where there's kind of the scam side of it when you're talking about there's all kinds of, I don't want to say fraud, but things going on. So we've been talking to Chris Olson, who's in the gold business, just announced a partnership with Tucker Carlson. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Stop out to our facility, Highway 22 South. Let us build a truck for you.
Hello and welcome to the MHA Interpretive Center. It's the perfect stop along the Lewis and Clark Trail and the cultural hub of the Mandan, Hidatsa, and Arikara Nation. Nestled along the shores of Lake Sagaguia in Newtown, North Dakota, 1 mile west of the Four Bears Casino. You can enjoy amphitheater performances, art exhibitions, and educational workshops utilizing our Living Cultural Center. Enjoy some coffee, browse our gift shop, and learn about the original people of this land. Learn more at mhanation.com/interpretive center.
Welcome to Arrowhead Cleaners. Newly renovated, modernized, and ready to make your cleaning needs hassle-free. From commercial and residential wash and fold laundry services to the latest in professional dry cleaning techniques, we are dedicated to your unique needs, offering alterations, fabrications, and even custom hat making. So whether you're a busy professional, a family on the go, or even a rodeo champion, Arrowhead Cleaners is here to take your things from messed up to dressed up. Now celebrating our 64th year in Arrowhead Plaza.
Home on the Range offers a nurturing place for teens who may have just come from an unsafe or traumatic environment. Here, they receive therapy and education services centered around animals, and the surrounding nature provides opportunities for work, fun, and healing. Life skills learned at Home on the Range are carried with residents when they return to the community with new talents and a greater appreciation for themselves and others.
Are you dealing with arthritis, nerve and back pain, dry skin, or superficial wounds, but found no relief? Give Stewart's Natural Health a try. For over 4 decades, Stewart's Natural Health has been helping people and animals with herbal and natural oil lotions, ointments, and creams with a mission to help you relieve pain and feel your best using the power of nature. Discover the safe, drug-free solution to your pain, guaranteed or your money back. Visit stewartsnatural.health today.
West River Equipment of Mandan is here to help you maintain peak productivity in your operation. As an authorized dealer for many high-quality equipment lines, we have the new and used equipment it takes to make your farming, ranching, or construction operation profitable and efficient. West River Equipment also has the parts on hand and the experienced technicians in our shop to get your equipment back in action fast. Find what you need at West River Equipment on Old Red Trail in Mandan.
Welcome back to Open Range. I'm your host, Gary Emineth. We're talking to Chris Olson, who just announced a partnership with Tucker Carlson. So, Chris, before the break, you're given just a little bit of an update about that. Talk to us, how did you get through to Tucker? I mean, That's not an easy wall to get over.
Yeah, actually, he found us. He's been a buyer of gold for many years, a big believer in the value of gold. And as I said earlier, we are a wholesale market maker, and so we provide access to our inventory to a number of brokers and dealers and retail websites and that type of thing. And so we have a lot of independent brokers who use us to source their metal and then to actually fulfill it, to deliver it to their customers. And through one of these brokers, we actually did sell gold to Tucker for a while prior to him ever contacting us, which was something I knew about. And I thought, well, that's pretty cool. Nice to see that Tucker's into gold, and nice to see that we're delivering it. But he didn't really know who we were because we're kind of behind the scenes typically. And so when he began investigating the industry and being approached by these groups that wanted him to promote them, he asked his broker, who can I talk to better understand what's happening, who I could promote, what we could do to get this out to my audience. And so that wound up with them setting up a phone call between me and Tucker. Because I was actually the source of the precious metals that he was acquiring through his broker. And so we wound up on a phone call last year, and that's when it began.
So, Chris, talk to us a little bit about what that means wholesale. So, I mean, I got a brother who's always bought precious metals. Said, Gary, you need to buy some and put some in the safe and have some for these dangerous times and what that are coming. And I'm not, I think he's right. But on the other hand, he just kind of goes to a retail store. And I know people have gone online. They've been frauded. They've gotten ripped off in so many ways. Walk our viewers through kind of the process of not only the wholesale side of it, but what actually a transaction looks like to get into this precious metal side of it. And we could speak, and I want to speak later as well, not only just gold and silver, but platinum and some of the other precious metals as well, please.
Sure. So the wholesale market making aspect of precious metals industry in the bullion industry in particular, and what I mean by bullion is coins and bars, whether small ones or big ones, that are just a commodity, where the value of the asset is 98+% just the value of the gold or the silver that's contained within that bullion. And in the wholesale bullion industry, market makers are buying and selling and maintaining a large stockpile of the different products that are made by the various mints, such as the U.S. Mint, the Royal Canadian Mint, other private mints that produce bars and coins. And so we stock those and make them available to retailers, like the little coin shops that you might walk into, or even the big coin shops that are throughout the United States. So when you go into one of those coin shops and they have gold and silver bars that are available to you, they're selling it to you at whatever the current market price is. So and they're also buying it from you based on the current market price as well. So if you were to go into a small coin shop and sell them your gold or your silver today, and let's say gold is $4,300 an ounce, and a couple days later there's a major correction and gold drops down to $4,100 an ounce, and you want to go back into that coin shop and buy some gold back, they'll sell it to you. So they'll buy it when it's higher, they'll sell it when it's lower. And the way that they do that is by coordinating with market makers like us, who are actually able to buy from them and sell back to them on a live market. And so as they buy from you, they'll sell to us, and as they sell metal to you, they'll buy metal from us and other dealers like us, so that we can help them to hedge the price risk and also to maintain a position. So if they've only got so much precious metals on site at any given time, and so if you go into a shop and you clear them out and buy all the metal that they have on hand, they'll place an order with a wholesaler to resupply what they've just sold.
I see. So when that happens, then you're maintaining that inventory. You're kind of like a bank where you're checking in and out inventory. So your company, I mean, you obviously have some serious reserves, or you have access to it that you can turn it around to mining companies, because, I mean, if you're doing major wholesaling to guys like Tucker Carlson, I'm sure he's not like Gary walking into the little coin shop here in Bismarck and say, "Can I have $500 worth of silver?" These are major transactions, and you've kind of played in that big level in your company, haven't you?
Yeah, it's been our main focus ever since I started in early 2000, mid 2000. My dad started that side of the business in the mid 90s, and we've just grown and grown and grown with that. Actually, in 2023, we sold and delivered over $1 billion of precious metals that year. And in the lifetime of our
$1 billion
over $1 billion in 2023
out of Fargo, North Dakota.
Yes,
wow,
out of Fargo, North
impressive.
Dakota, and we also work. We have precious metals in various locations throughout the United States. So there are other vaults and distribution centers that we use, but primarily out of Fargo, North Dakota, and in the lifetime of our company, we've delivered over $6 billion worth of gold and silver. And so it's a very high volume, low margin business. That's what we're used to. That's what we're built to do. And it takes capital, it takes credit lines, and it also takes some sophistication with hedging the price risk of the precious metals. So we use a variety of instruments to hedge our positions, futures contracts, and other OTC derivatives. And basically, whenever we sell gold throughout the day, we're buying it back from the larger paper market, like the COMEX in New York, for example, or other bank counterparties. So we'll buy those positions back just at the same time as we sell them, and then as we purchase from other dealers, we're selling it, we're hedging it off onto the wider global market. And so that's the type of service that we provide at the wholesale level, which supports other retailers and also retail websites, brick and mortar coin shops, everything like that.
I think of what brings to mind, I had not even thought about it till we were talking. I remember as a young man, I bought my father's grocery store. I was 21, and all of a sudden I'm like 23, and this is probably 1981, too, and I got some pretty good cash floating around through my little grocery store. So this company, I think it was called Monix or something, they would call and say, "Hey, you need to get into silver." So I remember buying some futures, and it's going to go up, and I wasn't paying attention. I got into it. I blew through 20 grand so fast and had margin calls, and I got out of it. I never went back. And I lost like 20 grand, and I'm in my early 20s. I didn't have 20 grand to lose. But the whole idea, yours is much different because you're really taking possession. So in my case, if I would have been doing something what you're talking about, is I'm taking possession of the bullion, I could, and I could throw it in the safe, store it somewhere, and then you take and ride that process a little bit, whether you're keeping it as a hedge, but also holding on to it long term, right?
Right, exactly. And if you were to build a large enough position, you could decide that you would like to earn a return on it by putting it to work. But the best way to put it to work is to become a dealer. And so now you've got inventory in a vault that you can sell for a small markup over what you've acquired it for, along with hedging your price risk. And you can sell it and distribute it and buy it back and sell it again and buy it back and rinse and repeat. So it's high dollar volume with very low margins.
And so in that business, what you've done, do you take delivery regularly where you're buying and then packaging and reshipping it out? Talk about that a little bit, where you get hands-on versus kind of the process of just brokering in between? I want to say sometimes I guess it's almost paper, maybe floating between, but maybe it's not. Is it always moving of the metal itself?
Yep, that's what we do. So we do use paper contracts, which we could take delivery of, and sometimes we do for the large bullion bars on the commodity exchanges. But usually those are just instruments that we use to hedge the price risk. And what we're actually taking delivery of is finished products from other market makers or secondary market participants like the brick and mortar dealers and the coin shops that are selling us gold and silver that they buy from the general public. Whenever they've got too much, they need to get rid of it and replenish their cash positions. And so we make a competitive bid price for that type of material, and then brand new product from the various mints that are producing them. So you've got sovereign mint coins like the United States Gold Eagle, which is the most popular bullion coin in the United States, minted by the West Point Mint. And so we sell a lot of those. The Royal Canadian Mint is also a very popular mint with the Canadian Gold Maple, also silver eagles and silver maples, and then there's bars and many other private mints that we deal with as well. And we're taking delivery of that, and then we're making delivery of those same bullion coins and bars to the end purchaser.
Chris, we're going to go to the break. We come back. I'd like to talk about this a little bit more and about, for a person sitting out there, how they can invest in it and what that really means in relation to other investments across the market. So we've been talking to Chris Olson. I'm your host, Gary. I'm going to stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Base Flug Trailers of Dickinson is a family-owned dealer with expert staff that know their products front to back. We stock over 150 units of all types and can custom order a trailer with the unique features and capabilities you require for brands you can trust. Our experienced service team is the reason we're also the best place to have your trailer customized or repaired. Count on Base Flug Trailers of Dickinson to keep you hauling.
Come on in and experience small-town hospitality and the personalized care that makes car buying a pleasure.
We know that every journey starts with the right car. Whether it's school drop-off, weekend road trips, or your daily commute, we have the right vehicle for you and your family.
With trusted brands, affordable prices, and a team that treats you like family, finding your next car has never been so easy.
We pride ourselves on personal attention and quality service. The Set Motors, where our customers send their friends.
Yeah, U.S. Cattlemen is a member organization that each member has a vote in anything we do with policy. We're representing the independent cattleman or the cow-calf guy or an independent feeder or whatever. We like to support the independent producer. We're talking about mandatory ID, we're talking about cool, we're talking about all the legislation that's going to be coming down with the new administration. There's going to be lots of moving and shaking. So always check us out at our website, uscattleman.org.
I'm $27,000 in credit card debt.
Okay.
You have to radically do something different, because if you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting.
Now's not the time to be doing math. The time to be doing math was when we didn't go into $200,000 of debt.
If you are freaked out and you're stuck in these debt payments and you think it has to be a part of your life, it doesn't.
We are Ladies of Another View. Join us every weekday morning at 9 o'clock a.m. as we discuss the big topics from North Dakota, the nation, and around the world.
We chat with everyone from celebrities and medical professionals to politicians, local business owners, and neighbors about the topics and stories that affect all of us.
We are unscripted and uncensored real news from real people. So join us every weekday morning for Ladies of Another View on Beck.
Welcome back to Open Range. We're talking to Chris Olson of Battalion Metals, who has got quite a business going out of Fargo. Has been at it a long time with his family. So, Chris, before the break, we were just talking a little bit about taking control of that metal and how that looks, and just the whole idea of investing in gold versus IBM stock or Microsoft stock or Tesla, whatever they're buying. Talk to us a little bit about that, how that plays in the market long term, and from your perspective of a precious metal as opposed to S&P.
So precious metals have been a store of value for millennia. It's the oldest form of money. It's a hedge against inflation, and the United States actually used to use gold and silver as its primary form of money for centuries, as did the rest of the world. And then eventually we began to print dollars that were backed by gold rather than actually trading gold coins out in the marketplace, although that did still occur until the 1930s, when gold ownership was actually banned in the United States. Gold contracts, gold trading, and that was a move by the federal government under Roosevelt in 1933 to increase the value of the dollar and to centralize power within the central government, which they did quite efficiently. And so the general public could not own gold or even really use gold to trade from 1933 until the late 1960s. And that was done to maintain the gold standard with foreign counterparties so that the US dollar could be exchanged for gold, but only if you were a foreign government or a foreign entity. So the dollar was still backed by gold for everybody else, but US citizens were expected to pool their gold together with the government in order to maintain the strength of the US dollar and international trade. But we continued to print more dollars than we actually had gold to back it up. And so in 1971, you have what's called the Nixon shock, where he unilaterally takes the United States off of the gold standard, meaning that we reneged on our obligations to maintain this exchange rate of how many dollars, how much gold backed how many dollars were in circulation. So it was basically a default by the US government. They admitted they couldn't pay their debts. They wouldn't pay their debts. They were going to no longer exchange gold for dollars at the rate that had been agreed on. And at that point, the value of gold began to just float on the free market. And basically they lost that control over the price of gold, but they found other ways to try to control the price of gold over the coming decades. But since then, the price of gold has risen from what was essentially about $35 an ounce to where it is today, over $4,000 an ounce. And the dollar has been reduced to less than 1% of the purchasing power that it had at the time. So it's a tool of central government to be able to expand its spending, to have unchecked and unrestrained spending, at least unrestrained from any kind of a physical restraint. So instead of a gold standard, people have said that today we now have a PhD standard, where the quants at the Federal Reserve Bank decide what interest rates should be, and they decide monetary policy and that type of thing. So it's been a struggle between paper assets and debt and what claims to be wealth and then actual wealth now for over 50 years. And it's even a geopolitical international struggle. So it's interesting if you look at what's happened internationally since 2014. foreign governments and central banks have been net sellers of U.S. treasuries and net buyers of gold. And so gold as a component of the foreign asset reserves of these central banks has risen year over year over year while treasuries continue to drop. So they're less excited about buying and holding U.S. treasuries as a reserve asset, just because the value of those treasuries continues to drop with inflation. The returns on treasuries are not high enough to generate a positive return after you account for inflation. So why would you want to carry that on your balance sheet? You may as well carry some other commodity, some other kind of a hard asset. So that's a trend that's been in place since 2014, and we expect it to continue. If you look at gold versus the S&P, for example, the compound return comparison of gold, or if you look at the compound value of the S&P with dividends reinvested, say from January of 2000 until this month, gold has a total return of about 1,075%, compared to the S&P over the same period, which has only had a total return of about 615, maybe 650%, depending on how you calculate it. So gold has been outperforming the S&P 500 by probably about 3 percentage points annually during the last 25-year period. So, and especially in recent years, it's up considerably. So hard assets versus paper claims, we have a floundering economy. Growth doesn't look good. Inflation is coming back. And also the United States has a huge debt problem. With interest rates where they're at, the U.S. is not going to be able to continue to refinance its debt at favorable rates. So unless Treasury yields go down 100 or 150 basis points than they are today, soon we're going to be like Japan, and the cost of paying the interest is going to skyrocket. And so there's a push to get interest rates down, which of course drives inflation and government spending. So gold continues to look like a very strong hedge against that kind of monetary malpractice, we could say.
So, Chris, if we take the idea of someone that talks about, do you have a retail store in West Fargo? Talk about that a little bit if you do, besides your wholesale. And if I was just going to go buy some, whether I do it in Bismarck or I'm watching the show in Williston or whatever, and I want to walk in and buy some on a regular basis or have it shipped through an online, talk to us about the risk or a process so that if I do it, I know I'm not going to throw my money into the wind and maybe have to buy a 30% premium that I shouldn't be paying for.
Yeah, we don't have a retail store open to the general public anymore. We had to close access to that a few years ago just because of all the business that we've been doing, and that's not really a major focus of ours right now. But there are brick and mortar shops throughout the United States. It's a great way to buy gold and silver. You just want to check the prices and make sure that they're treating you right. So. Or better yet, buy the precious metals from us at BattalionMetals.com. You can go there and check gold and silver prices. But if you want to buy it locally, and there's good reasons to do that too, just be sure to check the prices and make sure that they're treating you fairly.
And what would that be? What should a person expect? So let's just say gold is $4,000 for easy math today. And I got $12,000. So I'm thinking I'm going to go buy $12,000 worth of gold today and get 3 ounces. So it's easy to store. I can throw it in a safe, whatever. How would that transaction look like if we went to BattalionMetals.com to make that transaction occur? Walk me through that, please.
Yeah. So all of the products that we have on our menu are priced in a real-time market. If you go to the website and look at the products, you'll see the price is actually changing about every 5 seconds. And so we're selling it to you based on the current live market rate. And you have a spot price for gold. And that spot price represents essentially a futures contract, a very large bar or group of bars that you could buy for deposit within a warehouse on the East Coast. And so that's kind of like the basis for the price of any of the coins or bars. And so using that spot price as a basis, you then come to the price of an actual fabricated coin or bar, which is much smaller and easier to take delivery of and to store. And so there's a difference in the price between the spot price and the final price that you pay for that finished product. And that difference in price represents all of the inputs that go into converting from that big bar at the spot price to the final product that you have in your hand. And that requires transportation, insurance, storage, the cost to carry the commodity. So you have to finance the position. You also have to fabricate. So you have to take the raw material, melt it down, sometimes refine it and recast it and remint it into new formats. So you have all of these different inputs that go into the cost. And then finally, whatever profit margin the retailers and the distributors are making. And that's what gets you to that final price.
Chris, we're going to go to the break, and I want to pick up on that because I want to understand the difference of what that difference should be. Is it 5%, 10%? So we've been talking to Chris Olson of Battalion Metals. I'm your host, Gary. I'm going to stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hey y'all, it's Trent on the loose. I want to tell you, Lady Blue and I, we got a lot of miles together, but you know what? You and I got a lot of miles together as well. And all I want to do is bring to you the information on how we maintain a domestic supply of food and fuel for future generations. So I'm going to continue to travel the world and unearth the stories that make it possible that we can live in a free United States of America.
Welcome to Arrowhead Cleaners. Newly renovated, modernized, and ready to make your cleaning needs hassle-free. From commercial and residential wash and fold laundry services to the latest in professional dry cleaning techniques, we are dedicated to your unique needs, offering alterations, fabrications, and even custom hat making. So whether you're a busy professional, a family on the go, or even a rodeo champion, Arrowhead Cleaners is here to take your things from messed up to dressed up. Now celebrating our 64th year in Arrowhead Plaza. Are you dealing with arthritis, nerve and back pain, dry skin, or superficial wounds, but found no relief? Give Stewart's Natural Health a try. For over 4 decades, Stewart's Natural Health has been helping people and animals with herbal and natural oil lotions, ointments, and creams with a mission to help you relieve pain and feel your best using the power of nature. Discover the safe, drug-free solution to your pain, guaranteed or your money back. Visit stewartsnatural.health today.
We are the St. Mary Sisters. We are building a new facility here in Bismarck, North Dakota, for the sake of training young women to be courageous teachers in this state. The sisters will educate the younger generation to be fully alive through truth and discipline. The sisters' life of devotion and joy will make a positive difference in your community. Check out what we're up to, see what's going on, and join our mission to make a difference in the lives of the children of North Dakota.
Ashley, North Dakota is where life moves a little slower, but never gets dull. From hunting, camping, and fishing to safe streets where kids can be kids, this is the best of small town living. And Ashley offers everything you need, from healthcare to hardware to countless ways to stay active. Here, we've invested in our future with major upgrades to roads, parks, and education. Whether you're here for the day or here for life, you'll find Ashley's where you ought to be.
There's never been a better time to rediscover the style, reliability, and all-season, all-terrain fun of the all-new Nissan lineup at the new and improved Ryan Nissan. Whether it's the sleek and stylish Murano, the adventure-ready Pathfinder, or the reimagined, ready-for-anything 2026 Rogue, the all-new Ryan Nissan has the vehicle of your dreams at a price perfect for any budget. It's time to rediscover your passion for the road. It's time to rediscover the all-new Ryan Nissan, engineered to endure.
Welcome back to Open Range. I'm your host, Gary. I'm talking to Chris Olson of Battalion Metals. And so, Chris, before the break, I had to interrupt you, and we're just in the middle of talking about the cost of taking, like a bar of gold or silver and putting it into some type of smaller piece and shipping and getting insurance. And I want to have our viewers out there to say, hey, if I want to get into this, I can go to your website. But what am I looking at? So if I have 10 grand, 100 grand, whatever that number is, what would be an expectation, and not only the process, but do I take a 5% hit just because of getting it into if I want to take possession in a small enough, piece? Because obviously you need to, if the world collapses to some degree and your dollar's not worth anything, think of Nazi Germany and they're burning dollars in the streets, right? You still got coins that you can actually go out and barter with, so you can, buy some food and do whatever you need to do. Talk to us a little bit about that process, if you will, of getting it, and what should I expect if I'm going to make an investment? And, I threw out 100 grand versus 5 grand. And is there a threshold where there's a price advantage because you're dealing with a large enough quantity?
Yep. So yeah, there are thresholds. We have those listed on our website. So the more that you transact in at any one time, the better the rate per coin or bar is going to be. So there are volume discounts. And typically with gold, you're going to be looking at prices that are going to range anywhere from, say, 2.5% to 6% over the spot price of gold. And with silver, you're going to see prices typically anywhere from 3% to sometimes as high as 15% over the spot price of silver. And silver has a higher cost basis to it just because it takes a lot more energy and a lot more costs to move silver around. And so there's more friction involved in trading and fabricating silver as there is compared to gold, dollar for dollar. But the key thing that you want to take into account is what the value of the product you're buying is to sell it back at roughly the same time. And what that's called is the spread between the sell price and the buy price. And typically, depending on the size of the transaction and all of the other costs that are involved, whether you're taking delivery and having to ship it back, things like that, with gold, you should be looking at spreads of anywhere from about 3.5% to 6.5%. And with silver, it could be somewhere in the neighborhood of, again, 3.5 to maybe 10 or 12%. It can be higher depending on the product. And so we try to steer our clients into the products that have the lowest spread, the products that are the most traded, that have the most demand, that have the most liquidity in the United States. That's what you want to focus on because that's going to have your lowest total cost of ownership. When you turn around to sell it, you want to be able to sell a product that is popular, well recognized, and that is being traded throughout the United States. So a very recognizable form of gold, for example, is the United States Gold Eagle, which is going to have one of the best premium spreads between the buy and the sell price. Now, one of the reasons that we're having this conversation today is that there are a number of popular companies out there that are promoted by a lot of people that you and I both know and like. And I think really unwittingly are being promoted by them, these companies that target people with IRAs. And you see these ads everywhere. Put gold and silver into your IRA, get our free kit. You can even get $10,000 worth of free silver. And these companies take advantage of people not understanding how precious metals work, and they wind up selling them gold and silver for 50, 60, even 100% premiums above the spot price. And I have the receipts to prove it. We've spoken with dozens and dozens of people who have been ripped off. I know a guy who back in 2021 had $500,000 that he directed to one of these companies to put into gold and silver. And when he turns around to liquidate it shortly thereafter, because he needed to move the cash into something else, he gets a bid on what they sold him, and it's only worth about $250,000. So for $500,000, he purchased essentially $250,000 worth of gold. So it's a big problem, and that's one of the big things that we want to talk about and expose to everyone in the country, because some of the best people in the United States are being taken advantage of severely by these companies with their exorbitant premiums and spreads and misrepresentations. And it's a scandal, really. It's a huge scandal, and it's an unregulated market. So futures contracts are regulated, equities are regulated, financial advisors are regulated, and you have to act as a fiduciary, acting in the best interests of your customers in those industries. But the retail precious metal bullion industry is not regulated. And so the people that sell precious metals to the public do not have to act as a fiduciary to those customers, even when they're selling the metals to be included within their self-directed IRA. So there's a lot of grifting, there's a lot of con jobs that are happening in this industry, and it's a very bad thing.
So Chris, if someone was going to your website, and I have it up and I was looking at it as we were talking and you were chatting, and I ordered, 1,000 ounces of silver, and I really wanted to take possession, what does that look like?
You place the order, you choose your payment method. Once the payment clears, it's going to be delivered to you on a timeline that is stated at the time of checkout. Some things might be a week or two delayed. Some stuff is going to be live on the shelf. And so as soon as your payment clears and the product is available, it's going to be shipped to you. We also have a storage service where we utilize multiple precious metal vaults where you could keep the precious metal in a high security facility, which makes it very easy to sell it back in the future, or you could take delivery of it in the future. But most people will purchase it and take direct delivery, and that comes to you through FedEx or UPS in a plain brown package.
So we're going through the screen here, and you have different coins. Give us, our viewers, a perspective of taking bullion. Let's say I've bought troy ounce silver, like little rectangular pieces of 1 ounce silver, I guess they call it, versus a coin. Can you give us a 1 or 2 minute perspective on what you would recommend, or give some insight on it? I mean, everybody's got preferences, but a lot of people don't know the difference. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so the coins are more recognizable, they're more portable, it's easier to sell them. If you buy a larger bar, you're going to get more gold or silver for your money. But now if you ever want to sell it, you have to sell the whole bar. So it's cheaper per ounce, but it has less utility. And then with the government issued coins, you've got a little added protection that this is issued by a sovereign government. And there's more quality control and other protections. So there's a little value add that goes into those types of coins. But we sell everything that's popular. Everything that's on our website is specifically curated. We don't have a very large selection on Battalion Metals, and that's by design. We want to focus on what are the best deals in gold and silver and what are the best types to own.
Give me our viewers just a 1 minute on gold, silver, platinum, and you have, is it palladium? Is that how you say that word? I'm not even familiar with that. Talk to us about the philosophy behind it as an investor, having different ones.
Yeah, so gold and silver are the primary precious metals that have been used throughout history. They're also the monetary metals. Platinum and palladium were not discovered until quite recently in history, and they're more of an industrial metal, even though they are technically a precious metal. So they are more tied to industrial activity. They aren't carried typically on the balance sheets of the central banks, whereas central banks are stockpiling gold. Some of them have even begun to purchase silver. Platinum and palladium typically are not, but it's a smaller percentage of our sales, but it's still something that we offer. And some people think that there's a price play to be made in those metals, expecting that they could go up a lot more. But typically, I stay focused on gold and silver personally.
So, Chris, we guys got a few more minutes. What would be some advice that you could just takeaways that someone's listening to say, okay, I want to put some of my capital into it, whether it's 50 grand or a couple $100,000 out of my IRA. Give us we got about 1 minute is all. Give me a quick answer for an investor to think about that.
Well, it's very easy to do. We do it all the time. You could give us a call at 701-282-5254. You could talk to one of our advisors, walk you through the process. Basically, if you have a self-directed IRA, you can move your money into a custodian that supports owning physical precious metals. And then once you have those funds available, since it's self-directed, you can purchase alternative assets, real estate, crypto, et cetera, but also precious metals. And so then you can use us as a provider of that gold and silver to put inside your IRA, which is then delivered to a depository custodian where it will be held on your behalf. And now it's an asset that you own within your IRA with whatever tax advantages you have associated with it.
Chris, I appreciate you coming on and giving us an update with gold at historic levels, silver at historic levels. We're going to have you back when you can spare some time and I can peel you away from Tucker Carlson. I know it's a little bigger fish than open range here on Beck TV, but thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Thanks for having me, Gary.
You bet, Chris. We've been talking to Chris Olson of Battalion Metals. I'm your host, Gary Emmett. Thanks for watching.
Now you can have the personalized forecast at your fingertips when you need it. Beck's exclusive Weather Insight is information tailored to you. Radar, weather alerts, forecasts, and videos. Download the free Weather on Beck News app. Search your app store now.
Come on in and experience small town hospitality and the personalized care that makes car buying a pleasure.
We know that every journey starts with the right car. Whether it's school drop-off, weekend road trips, or your daily commute, we have the right vehicle for you and your family.
With trusted brands, affordable prices, and a team that treats you like family, finding your next car has never been so easy.
We pride ourselves on personal attention and quality service. The Set Motors, where our customers send their friends.
Welcome to Arrowhead Cleaners. Newly renovated, modernized, and ready to make your cleaning needs hassle-free. From commercial and residential wash and fold laundry services to the latest in professional dry cleaning techniques, we are dedicated to your unique needs, offering alterations, fabrications, and even custom hat making. So whether you're a busy professional, a family on the go, or even a rodeo champion, Arrowhead Cleaners is here to take your things from messed up to dressed up. Now celebrating our 64th year in Arrowhead Plaza.